If I had a nickel for every time that Jung Lee had an odd interaction with the umpires in the ninth inning of a ball game where the Giants were losing, I would have exactly 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it is odd that it has happened twice. But we'll get into that later down the line here. The Giants losing tonight, Friday night here at Oracle Park to the Texas Rangers in front of a sellout crowd 2-0. And the story of today's game was the offense, or the lack thereof, kind of on both sides. Justin Verlander pitched 6 innings, allowed 2 runs, struck out 5 batters to, I believe, 2 walks. But Nathan Eovaldi was just a little bit better. 6 scoreless innings, 7 strikeouts, just the 1 walk. And interestingly enough, Eovaldi came into this start having made 8 prior starts against the Giants and had a career ERA of 9.45, which was easily the worst ERA he's had against any individual opponent. The second worst ERA he's had against any opponent, I think it was like 5.48 against the Toronto Blue Jays. So a team that he has not historically had success on, and on Friday night here, with that splitter really moving really well, he's able to throw 6 scoreless innings and continue what has been a great season for him so far. And as far as Verlander goes, we've talked about how Verlander, especially that start against the Phillies, that start against the Mariners as well, kind of was the recipient, or maybe not recipient's not the right word, but was on the wrong end of some batted ball luck. And over the last 2 starts, we've kind of seen things turn a little bit for Verlander. With the start that he had in Anaheim, he allowed 1 earned run over 6 innings, was able to reach back and blow by, I think it was like pitch 96, like a 97-mile-per-hour fastball past Mike Trout. And then tonight, Verlander is able to build off that momentum by allowing just the 2 runs here over 6 innings, does get saddled with the loss. And interestingly enough, this is the 7th time in Verlander's career that he's gone at least 6 starts without recording a win. He's still searching for that first win as a Giant. The most starts that he's ever had consecutively in which he hasn't recorded a win is 7. So I believe his next start would either be, I don't think it would be against the Padres. I think it'd be against the Rockies. So if there was a team that he would possibly have an opportunity to break that streak against, it would be the Rockies, but we're looking way too far ahead into the future. But regardless of Verlander not being able to get in the win column, back-to-back quality starts is something that he can build off going forward. Now, getting into this interaction, or this 9th inning debacle, again, super, super weird. Let me set the stage. Giants are trailing 2-0. Robert Garcia is on specifically to face Lee, and the Giants have the heart of their order set to come up in the bottom of the 9th inning. Lee, Chapman, and Flores. With the count at 2-2, Garcia throws a high and inside fastball that appears to hit Lee's bat. And when you go look at the replay, and there's not a perfect replay that you get that side angle, but it looks like the ball hits off Lee's bat. And because the pitch is high and inside and it's headed right at him, it kind of forces Lee to be unable to stop the momentum of his swing, and he ends up going down to the ground. The umpires dictate that the ball hit Lee's hand and not the bat. If it hits his hand, that's an extension of the body, which is the same thing as swing through a pitch, so he's called out. Manager Bob Melvin comes out to argue, and as he told us during the postgame, he pretty much argued every single thing in the book, but to no avail. The call is upheld. Lee strikes out. Then former Giant Luke Jackson comes in and finishes off the game by getting out Chapman and Flores. And then after the game, when we had the opportunity to talk with Lee, he said that the ball hit the bat. If it hit his hand, he would have been writhing in pain. Like, you would have known that the ball hit his hand and not the bat. So he was not entirely happy. And then there's a longer quote. I'm going to put it right here. You can go ahead and pause the video and read it over if you like. But the kind of kicker of that longer answer was he said something to the effect of, there's a basic standard that should be upheld that wasn't. So, and you can kind of tell based off Lee, I'm going to say this with the caveat that I do not speak Korean, but you can kind of tell with the way he was pacing, with his cadence, how he was kind of choosing his words selectively, that he was not happy with what transpired there in the 9th inning. And again, it's a second consecutive week in which something really kind of odd has happened. And we talked about this in the last video in Philadelphia, where he had that interaction with Phil Cuzzy, where Cuzzy thought he was tapping the helmet, Lee saying he doesn't speak English, and Cuzzy's still talking to him, and then they talk after the game. Just a really weird interaction. So kind of based off the way things going, I guess when we're maybe in San Diego next week, something weird will also happen.